one are the commando forces indeed. Today the 19th February 2021. The one are the day they graduated today, 19th February. No easy. No easy. That's on the eyes. No easy. Wow. No easy. No easy. Let's see him. Oh. Cameroun. Let's see him. Cameroun. Forces indeed. Today the 19th February 2021. The one are the day they graduated today, 19th February 2021. No be easy. That's part of the commando forces and this. They don't just graduate them. They celebrate. No be easy. Young commando. No be easy. Let's see on the eyes. No be easy. But I'm going to get power. Let's see on the eyes. Let's see him. Wow. No easy. No easy. No easy. That's on the eyes. No be easy. Wow. No easy. No easy. Let's see him. Oh. Cameroun. Let's see him. Cameroun.
Good evening, the great people of Ambazonia, and good evening to all friends of Ambazonia. The Ambazonian people have placed Cameroun on a political, economic, social, and diplomatic chokehold. The Ambazonian people have placed Cameroun on a political, economic, social, and diplomatic chokehold. There is no way out for Cameroun. There is no way out for Mr. Biya. There is nothing at this moment that can save or rescue Cameroun. The Canadian government has rallied its international partners, and the financial drip through which Cameroun had been able to sustain the occupation government. The Canadian government has rallied its international partners and friends of Canada, and they have put a stop on all IMF loans to Cameroun until Cameroun gets back into meaningful discussions, back to the negotiation table with the Amazonian people. Today, a very renowned Canadian political science professor, Professor Chris Roberts of University of Calgary. Professor Chris Roberts is also a senior political and diplomatic advisor to the Canadian federal government and its Ministry of the Ministry of Global Affairs. He sent out a tweet today to give the international community, to give the Canadians, to give the Amazonian people and people across the globe the update on Canadian pressure on Cameroon. Here is what it says. First, hashtag Cameroon. Second, hashtag Canada. Update. Delays by government of Cameroon to talk with Anglophone arm and other groups, costing more lives and suffering. No IMF tranche in March without substantive progress. That's from a senior Canadian diplomat, an advisor to the Canadian federal government, an advisor to the Canadian Foreign Ministry of Global Affairs. That's from Professor Chris Roberts. What does this mean to you, the Amazonian people? Just 9 days ago, once more, the Amazonian people demonstrated to Cameroon, to the international community, what we have consistently said. Cameroon no longer has control over the Amazonian territory. The Cameroon occupation system has come to an end. The Cameroon colonial administrative system in Amazonia has come to an end. The Amazonian policy of making the territory ungovernable has crumbled the system of occupation. What is left in Amazonia? It's mere military occupation. The 11th February, which is a day the Cameroon government has used to tell the international community, to tell Africans, and even to tell the people of Cameroon that Cameroon and Amazonian still have anything in common. We've also proven that day has also come to an end. The colonial plebiscite no longer exists. As most of you have seen videos that came out of Nkambe, the colonial parliamentarian for Nkambe, Ngala Gerard, was on the streets with bags of money to bribe people to participate, to bribe people to do what they call march pass. If you have so much control, you have so much authority, and you have the ability to govern, why would you be bribing people on the streets? To get them to go march. If that day is so meaningful, why are you using money? Coexistence or nationalism, it's born out of love, out of passion. So why has it turned to bribery? To prove to Mr. Biya that you can do propaganda in Amazonia. Well, not this time around. The Amazonian Governing Council had other plans for Ngala Gerald. The Amazonian Defense Forces had other plans. Disrupt, take control, define the narrative, and send the traitors on their heels. Few minutes later, after the distribution of money, what happened in Nkambe? Explosives everywhere. A massive disruption. We put Cameroon to shame. We disrupted the propaganda and told them who is in charge. For you, the Amazonian people, we want you to be confident. This is the end game. I know there's a lot of noise. We know. Cameroon is having meetings with its agents provocateurs. They've had meetings in Canada with their new recruited and compromised agents. It's a lot of money going around to increase the confusion and the control of your mind. You also have read the report from International Crisis Group. Over the years, since 2019, I have educated the Amazonian people through empirical analysis and evidence that the Cameroon government has created its own groups. Since 2019, I provided empirical evidence and analysis informing the Amazonian people the Cameroon government has created pro-Cameroon groups. They are Amazonian groups that their goal, their purpose, their intention is to carry out activities that undermines Amazonian nationalism, that undermines the Amazonian struggle for freedom, for dignity, for independence, and for sovereignty. I informed all of you. The International Crisis Group, in its report that came out a week ago, has indicated pro-government groups exist within the Amazonian liberation space. Pro-government militias exist in the Amazonian territory. What you know as infighting is not Amazonians fighting Amazonians. They are groups created by Cameroon to do the infighting on behalf of Cameroon. They are groups on the ground created by Cameroon, which now has been validated by the International Crisis Group to cause the chaos on the ground, to block nationalist forces from existing in certain places. What you're seeing happening in Manu, what you're seeing sometimes happening within Fako, what you're seeing happening sometimes within Meme, even what you've seen happening within Momo, even within Bui, they are all signs of what we have been informing the Amazonian people. Pro-Cameroon government groups. Go read the International Crisis Report. These groups exist. With that being said, we have been able to succeed. We have been able to minimize the damages caused by some of these groups. We have been able to educate, inform, inspire, encourage, and empower the Amazonian people to not blink. All I'm saying is, be aware. The noise you hear on social media, the people making this noise They are not making this noise because they love you. They are not making this noise because they know what truth is. They are making this noise, taking you through dark path to intoxicate your mind, to poison your mind, to confuse you so that you don't believe in your own dignity, so that you don't believe in your own future, so that you feel discouraged. They're doing it to make you feel discouraged. They are doing it to weaken your resolve. They are doing it to weaken your commitment. They are doing it to make sure you don't commit. You don't believe. They're not doing it for your benefit. They are doing it in order to help Cameroon to maintain a toxic narrative and therefore make you feel discouraged. Make you start to question if it's worth it. I'm here to tell you. I came back from Cuba 3 weeks ago. I spent almost 10 days in Cuba. I spoke to political leaders in Cuba. I spoke to leaders of industries. I spoke to people in the tourism industry, business people, ordinary citizens who are struggling, students, just to find out how life is. What are their own hopes? What are their own dreams? I met young people like you and myself. We have meaningful conversations so that I can understand their society. Cuba is a very clean place. The people are driven by a sense of nationalism. Regardless of some of their own challenges that they are facing, they are way better off. Very developed, well structured, good roads, zero corruption in terms of social corruption. There's corruption at the top, but social corruption doesn't exist. You travel for hours. There's no police officer who's going to stop you to ask you to pay them money. There's no pickpocket in the streets of Cuba. It's a clean, very organized society. Just in the small city of Varadero, they have built 50 luxurious international resorts. A small city. 50 luxurious international resorts. And the infrastructure is just extraordinary. The level of security, as a tourist, you can walk on the streets even at 3 a.m. You wouldn't even see police people around. Their police officers don't even carry guns. Isn't that another perspective? Compare that to what Cameroon has implanted on our land. Little girls are murdered on the streets. Pregnant women are shot in close range. Grandmothers are burnt alive. Young girls are raped. State resources are looted. The military has become a gang of thugs and terrorists. Police have become thieves. The gendarmes have taken the laws into their own hands. There is nothing you can do about it. But there is something we have done about it. That system has come to an end. Be hopeful, Amazonians. You have placed a chokehold economically, politically, socially, and diplomatically on Cameroon. You are in charge. We are even in charge as to what happens in Cameroon. That's how much power you have. Remember what the leader said the other day. The person in the armor car does not have power. The person who forced that person to invest in armor cars and be traveling in armor cars is the one who has power. If you, as an Amazonian, you can make Cameroon to invest in armor cars, you are in charge. You can make Okala Belai to be traveling in an armor car, you are the one who has power. If you can make the military to be driving, living, sleeping, eating in armor cars, they have no power. You are the one who has power. That is power. That is power. That's why you should take pride in the strategy we have put in place. The strategies that have crumbled Cameroon economically, crumbled them politically, crumbled them socially. Their traitors cannot save Cameroon. The compromise agents cannot save Cameroon. The splinters cannot save Cameroon. The noise cannot save Cameroon. Nothing can save Cameroon. Nothing can rescue Cameroon. We, the Amazonian people, are masters in shaping and creating destinies. What is happening in Cameroon, we dictated it, we've shaped it, we've created it, and we've caused it to happen. Politically, economically, socially, diplomatically. We are in charge. And until they come to that realization, it will continue to be a nightmare. They will continue to live in confusion. All right? Don't let the noise disturb you. Don't let traitors and cowards and beggars and eaters of crumbs to disturb your peace of mind. You have prevailed. Their noise are more signs of the desperation of an enemy that cannot even speak for itself. Mr. Biya cannot speak and defend Cameroon. Diongute cannot speak and defend Cameroon. Atanganji cannot speak. What can Lele Lafrique say? What can Okala Belai say? Nothing. There is nothing Agbobala can say. Because the end is here. They are out of what to say. And we are just getting started. Have faith. You have prevailed. All you need to do now is for us to intensify the assault on the enemy on all fronts. Intensify the assault on the enemy on all fronts. Pay your liberation tax. Over the last few months, you've been seeing the work and the investments you've made through the liberation tax. The consistent operations, the consistent assault on the enemy. We made enormous investment pre-11 February, and you saw the outcome. Your forces can do miracles. What they need from you is just a simple payment of your liberation tax. Pay your liberation tax. Let's take back our homeland. The only thing left for Mr. Biya to do is to surrender, because nothing else can save Cameroon. Good night.
Indeed, today the 19th February 2021. The one that the day they graduated today, 19th February 2021. No be easy. That's part of the commando forces and this. They don't jog at them. They celebrate. No be easy. Young commando. No be easy. No be easy. But I'm going to get power. No be easy.
One of my sister, where they kill her for night, they rape you, then kill her for night. The Santa towards Presbyterian Church, opposite Presbyterian Church. I recover this way, one will carry him now, who live for mortuary, where they rape her. They rape you for night. Yes. Yes. Go rape her. Yes. I recover this. Michael! Yes. I recover this. Now in this way they take and go to mortuary. I recover this. Now girl where they rape them for night. When I'm a family sister, where they rape you for night and still kill you. And when we are the same, that the kind of things this way, you don't pass with Santa. You don't pass with Santa.
Fellow Amazonians, this is Dr. Chuayaba. I am making this address to the denizens of Fako. We are informed that the colonial SGO has banned the resistance in Fako. I don't know if he got some advice from the late mayor or from Musonge's brother who was killed in there. If he got any advice from them, he should heed to those advice, because it will be very, very relevant for him going forward. What I like our people in Fako to know is the bravery that has been demonstrated historically in Fako. Chief Kuva Likenye was a warrior who stood the test of time. He died in around 1893, 1894, after he had been exiled from Boya by the Germans. He died in Mokomba. So Kuva decided to rally about 300 to 500 Bakwarians to fight German exploitation. He was inspired by Efasamoto and by the founding father of Boya, Njeli Fanje. That is who inspired Kuvali Kenye. He stood the test of time. He fought like a warrior. He never succumbed to German power, German excesses, or their punitive exploitation. He was pushed into exile. He never begged his way back. And he took his last breath in 1894 as a warrior. Those are the breed of men who should inspire us on a daily basis as we face the atrocious activities of the monsters from Cameroun. What we have to know is this: no matter how we conduct ourselves, irrespective of how we have conducted ourselves all through our miserable existence as Amazonians, it has not altered the attitude of those who think they are entitled to determine how we live, and when we die. They have structured our country in a way that makes it impossible for us to pursue happiness, to create wealth and opportunities, and live a life in dignity. They have completely rejected the notion of compromise or ceding grounds on any issue, no matter how trivial, including issues like simply how students want the university to be governed, how teachers want examinations to be organized, or who should be the mayor in our own city and villages. Cameroon has not compromised on any of those things. How our parastatals like CDC are managed. For hundreds of years, we have remained plantation workers in plantations that are ours, and there is no replication in development or opportunities. When I spoke about Singapore, I said Singapore makes $11.7 billion a year on palm. Singapore got palm from West Africa to generate an industry that gives it $11 billion. We are slaves in our own industries. The butchers from Cameroon think they can recruit a couple of us and give them a certain level of entitlement to continue to perpetuate a system that has given us nothing. We rose in resistance, imposing ghost towns to be able to send them a message that we mean business. Now, when you are in authority and those in rebellion institute different methods of resistance, from civil disobedience, including non-payment of taxes, to complete lockdowns of cities, including military actions like economic sabotage, assault on your military. You sit down and find a way of resolving the conflict, not to end the method they have chosen to resolve the conflict. A conflict is a palaver. What do you call palaver? It's a quarrel. It's an issue. War is a method to resolve that conflict. There are other methods to resolve the conflict. Negotiations. All what you are seeing, ghost towns, armed resistance, they are all methods we have employed to resolve the conflict, because La République du Cameroun has refused vehemently to negotiate, to use non-violent method in resolving the conflict. So each time you find your forces rising up in arms, shooting around, it is because that is the only option left. Because if there were students in the University of Boya with going out for simple protests, they were shot and killed. If there were women in the market of Victoria in Newtown protesting for the right to vote and to elect their own mayors, they were shot and killed. If they were just children driving in a taxi in Boya, they were shot and killed. So when a state refuses the opportunity to sit down on a table and talk about its illegal presence in our country, and using that illegal presence to exploit, to abuse us, to leave us in abject poverty, we have no other option than to employ other methods of resistance. And ghost towns are one of those methods. They are peaceful. We use Mondays to tell the world the impunity with which our land has been occupied and our people treated for the past 60-something years has to come to an end. We use Mondays to tell the world that your presence in our land is not accepted, that you should leave. We use Mondays to remind our prisoners that we think of you on a daily basis. We use Mondays to tell the families whose children are in the grave that they did not die in vain. The enemy fears Mondays because every Sunday, the colonial masters are ashamed to sit at home. They don't know what to tell their masters, the bloodsuckers of our people who live in Yaoundé, that the ordinary Ambazonian people who are less armed have defeated them, have the power to compel their citizens to stay at home. This is non-negotiable. This is not an attempt by us to punish anybody, because we were born in punishment. We were born in a big jail. You move from one sector of the jail, whether it is Mutengene, to the next sector of the jail, whether it is Munya, it is a prison. The only time some people escape that prison is taking treacherous journeys right across the Atlantic, the Mediterranean, right to Mexico to enter other people's country who fought and died. When the Americans started to fight, less than 50% of Americans supported the revolution. When George Washington was appointed as the commander of the American forces that were fighting for independence, and he went to Boston, he had no army. He had ragtag militias. He had the odious task of building an army from a confused militia against a well-armed British force. And he built that army with sheer and raw tenacity. Even when going forward, they were loyalists to the British who refused to succumb to the patriots' desire for a separate homeland that they could determine their own destiny. So what we face in Ambazonia is not a new phenomenon. It's something you can observe across different struggles and different countries. Here in Norway, I spoke about Hitler attempting, after having taken over Norway, to change its educational system. About 1,200 teachers rose up in the face of the brutality when Hitler had appointed his own government in Norway. The king escaped to London. They picked up 500 teachers, took them to the northern part of Norway, the coldest part of this country. They refused to succumb. Teachers then went underground into the trenches to build resistance. When Hitler took over Poland, the Poles never surrendered. They went into the trenches in bomb buildings and fought like valiant soldiers. What the enemies from inside and outside are telling you is that it's difficult, so give up. You never aborted your baby even though you were struggling with a broken back with 6 months pregnancy. There's so many things you go through, you've never given up. What they are telling you is that it's so difficult. Run away to another person's country where they fought. Go to South Africa where they spent 75 years to 50 years. Go to Palestine, they've been 75 years. Oh, rush to Eritrea. Yes, you can fly to Rwanda. But think about it. The first commander that entered was killed before the current president came in. Within 100 days, 1 million Rwandans were butchered. Their bodies were floating in the seas. The Rwanda Patriotic Front never gave up. The Rwandans never blamed it for the suffering because they knew the pain was not that of those who have risen up to fight. It was imposed by the Habyarimana government and the Belgians. It will be tough, but you can't allow a colonial deal to come into your land. The same place when Chief Likenye rose up against a more powerful German army and fought them. And I want you in Boya to be inspired by the Efasamoto also. To be inspired by Likenye. And I ask our forces, don't blink. Stand the post. Any infiltrator, colonial apologists who want to test the resilience and resolve of Ambazonians, make a choice between the patriots or the SDO colonial apologists. Make a choice to sympathize with those who keep our people in jail or those who stand to defend our land. Make a choice between the laws designed to protect the independence and sovereignty of our country and our resources, and the laws designed to extort, exploit, and murder. This is a choice you can make. And I know for the past 7 years, you've made your choice for Ambazonia, as you demonstrated on the 11th of February. I ask you, Ambazonians, to remind yourselves of those who have died. Don't remind yourselves of the difficulties. These difficulties were not imposed by Ambazonian forces. The day you were born into slavery, possibly born at home or in the corridors of a dilapidated hospital. The schools your kids went to, you paid for those schools. The miserable jobs they are into, you've bribed your way into those jobs. To get an ID card from the enemy, you've bribed your way to getting it. To get a passport from the enemy, you've gotten a bribe to be able to get it. To be able to have dignity, you have to pay for it. Think about the cost of begging to succumb to an authoritarian system that gives you no hope, and the cost you must pay to emerge as a free people. Let the colonialist deal not dictate the terms of what happens in our country. And that cuts across the entire territory, including Donga and Manto, including Victoria. Those towns that continue to side with the enemy, we will not forgive you. I tell all the Cameroonians who have used their power of influence in terms of money, land titles through colonial DOs and mayors, the lands you've paid monies for belongs to Ambazonians. We will reclaim those lands. Our people must be resolved. It's not going to be a walk in the park. You may not see it. You may not enjoy it. You may not feel it. But as you take your last breath, remember what you've left behind. Children without a roof over their head, without education, or an inheritance they will transfer to the next generation.
I will start by requesting our King of Kings, our Founder of all Chief of Chiefs, His Excellency Paul Biya, to order a police post in Bakungo. We need a security post in Bakungo because
at the beg the defense maker protect Bakungo people. I beg the development see me come Bakungo. I say they say my project Bakungo. They say they don't want development. I don't apologize. I don't hear no development. I'm gonna close the school. I beg more and bring back that people. Don't bring back this people. Bring back this people. Bring back this people. Anything when I was my project for, I don't apologize for. When I bring back these people, then we don't close the school. I bring back these people. I don't apologize. I never know what I don't apologize for. When I say I apologize about the people, and I have to apologize because they don't.
revolution is peaceful. Yes. We want Cameroonians to be free. Yes. Saudi Cameroonians. Yes. If Mr. Biafra wants to be free, yes. Let us bring back marketing boats. Yes. Let us bring back our prisoners back. Yes. Let him come for negotiation table. Yes. We want Ambonia to be free. Yes. We are not colonized by the French. Yes. We don't have roads. Yes. We don't have good schools. Yes. We don't have good education. Yes. We have unemployment. Yes. We want Ambonia to be free. Yes. We the youth of Southern Cameroon. Yes. We are fighting for our rights. Yes. We want America. Yes. United Nations. Yes. Great Britain. Yes. Northern Ireland. Yes. Germans. Yes. England. Yes. They should come together to rescue us. Yes.
Peuple camerounais, je vous adresse ces messages de réveil de conscience révolutionnaire. Je m'appelle Kangfak Nguku Isidore, originaire de la région de l'Ouest. Peuple camerounais, aujourd'hui le monde nous considère comme un peuple le plus peureux et le plus mouton de la planète, face au régime de Biya qui a reçu de nous beaucoup de sacrifices, mais continue à nous piétiner. Défunt Charles Ateba Eyene nous avait prévenu en disant ceci: ce régime va nous demander nos poumons, nos reins et nos foies un jour. Les deux régimes, Ahidjo et Biya, nous ont baissés. Ils nous ont baisés par la nousse, par les narines, par la bouche et continuent à nous baiser avec les multiplications des taxes et les hausses des prix des premières nécessités interminables. Après 64 ans de l'indépendance, il n'y a pas les routes, il n'y a pas l'électricité, il n'y a pas l'eau. Nos intellectuels nous ont déçus à 1000%. Vois comment ils pleurent dans les plateaux de télévision, réclamant un code électoral consensuel. Et le régime Biya sait très bien que accepter cela, c'est signer son arrêt de mort. Ce régime est toujours prêt à sacrifier nos enfants dans les sales guerres qu'il déclare partout. Les peuples ambazoniens nous ont montré de quoi ils sont capables. Ils nous ont dévancés en prenant leur destin en main par les armes. La question est ceci: à quand notre tour? C'est maintenant et tout de suite. Nous allons prendre les armes pour se libérer. Nous allons effacer cette image où on nous considère comme un peuple plus peureux et plus mouton de la planète. Partagez au maximum, s'il vous plaît, parce que nous allons pas laisser faire. trop avec ces régimes. C'est maintenant ou jamais. Je vous remercie.
Welcome to ACN. Welcome to ACN.